Rev up your engines! Alright, today I'm checking out a 2012 Toyota Corolla with 200,000 miles that guy's buying, and I'm going to tell you why before I check it out. Maybe it'll end up being a junker, I don't know, I kind of doubt it, but I'm going to tell you why this is probably one of the best vehicles Toyota ever made. Sure, the new ones get better gas mileage, they can get 41 on a highway, he got 36 driving here going 80 miles an hour. The modern ones do it with what's called Toyota Dynamic Force engines. You got port fuel injectors, you got GDI injectors, very complex system that switches back and forth. You also have a CVT transmission in the new ones. This has actual automatic transmission with gears that I like. When we look under the hood, what do we see once we pull this stupid crappy beauty cover off that I can't stand? Is a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder intelligent variable valve system. These engines can run forever. Although you can see this one here, some mice have been in here. Well, the woman he bought it from in the country obviously has mice in the country. We got mice here all over the place, but they didn't bother chewing the wiring, that's all fine. These are such dependable engines, get great gas mileage, and an actual automatic transmission, 4-speed with overdrive that can last forever. Now we can see it's got 200,784 miles on it. But as you can see, the interior is in immaculate shape. The seats aren't the one, other than this one. Somebody was smoking here and they melted some of the seat. Well, you can always get seat covers. Now with the simplicity of this transmission and not a CVT that I'm not a particular fan of. Now Toyota makes good CVTs. My son's got a Corolla S. He loves it, right? I just don't like them myself. I like regular gears. Can't get a regular geared Corolla. You can't even get a standard transmission Corolla anymore in the United States. I'm not a fan of that because they just never last as long as the conventional transmission does, and they don't have the feeling either. You take this thing is almost the same speed 0 to 60 as the new one, even though the new one has 169 horsepower and this thing has only 132 horsepower. That just shows you that the CVTs don't go for great acceleration, because with that extra horsepower it should have been a whole bunch quicker than this, and it isn't. You know, you're trading gas mileage for acceleration power. But let's face the fact, nobody buys a Toyota Corolla to be a drag racer in unless they're pulling the engine out and putting in an LS1 engine or something. Yeah, they're not race cars. They are transportation cars that can virtually run forever. And having owned a 1981 Toyota Corolla 4-door, this thing looks like a Rolls Royce compared to that boxy looking thing. You know, that's still pretty sharp looking cars. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, who would buy a used car with 200,000 miles on it? Well, probably by the end of this video, you might change your mind. We'll see what kind of shape it's. We're going to hook up the computer first. We're going to do diagnostics, active the vehicle, and as you can see, it's popping up. Okay, I already read the VIN, so here we go. Do a topology scan of all the CAN networks, and while it's doing that, hey, it's a nice interior. And look, a real parking brake. Not one of those crappy electronic switches that break and cause problems. Very simple technology. Okay, now it does have, as we said, 200,000 miles on it. And it's got a few trouble codes, but it looks like it's stuff we're not going to care about. There is one for the ABS system. Master pressure sensor 0 point high. Maybe somebody disconnected the battery or something wacky. We're going to erase that. The tire pressure monitoring service. Another thing we really don't care about that much, but we'll see what the code is. Receiving data from 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not receiving data because, hey, this car's got 200,000 miles. I'm sure the batteries are all worn out. Each tire pressure monitoring valve, one on each tire, right? There's a battery inside. Eventually it wears out. You could replace them all, but you can get a tire pressure gauge and use that. It works perfectly fine. So we'll go back and see what the last one is. The ECM. Now, sometimes this means something, sometimes it doesn't. So here we go. We will go to trouble codes and see what they are. It is a startability fault. I see that all the time. These chip keys sometimes don't work perfectly. If somebody tried the wrong key, say one that wasn't programmed, it'll give you this code. Or if the battery goes bad, it'll give this code. So there's another code we're going to erase. Codes are gone. We'll take it for a road test. But before we do, we will go through live data. See what kind of shape everything's in. Pop it over. Here we go. Live data. Yes, airflow sensors normal. And the long-term fuel trim here, subtracting almost 4% fuel. Meaning it's run a little bit on the rich side. with this kind of mileage on it, often I see the fuel injectors, they can get a little bit dirty and they dribble too much. They don't work perfectly fine. So now it is running only slightly rich because, let's face the facts, he went 80 miles an hour getting here and he got 36 miles a gallon. So it's not like it's running rich or get bad gas mileage. So we're splitting hairs here. Nevertheless, for a vehicle that's got 200,000 miles, not a bad idea to put something that's cleaner and to get any carbon out. Sport and drive. It may look like water, but it isn't. Check it out, it is insane. The cleaner's only been running in the car for about half an hour, and now it's only 0.781. British cleaner works. I'm not making this stuff up. If you got something that's off like this, it's worth a try. So let's look at some more data here, see if anything else is weird. Now see, somebody disconnected the battery cable 613 kilometers ago. And that's probably why startability thing went out. The battery's been replaced, so you get cars like that, you don't even care about them now. A lot of dishonest mechanics are going to say, your car has a startability concern. Look, there's the code. We got to work on the car. No, you really don't have to do anything, especially if you just bought the car. And as I said, this is the old-fashioned. This has port injectors. They're working fine. It's a lot simpler than a system that has both port and direct fuel injection systems. Look at this thing, 200,000 miles. We put it in gear. Does it shake? No, it doesn't shake. It's a simple system that can last for sometimes 500,000 miles or more. There's the misfire count. They're all zeros. All kinds of data. It's all good. The engine speed of the cylinders are all exactly the same like they're supposed to be. And look at this. Engine speed fluctuation, worst value, 0. There's no fluctuation because the engine's running perfect, even though it's got 200,000 miles on it. Electronically controlled transmission. Doesn't have any problems. So let's take it for a spin. Now, there's no backup camera because it's too old, so you got to look. That's mirrors are for, and we'll give it a good road test. Like I say, 200,000 miles, and this thing idles so smooth. Now, it was a one owner, only one woman owned, did a lot of highway driving. I could tell a lot of these mileage is highway driving because going too good to be city pothole driving. Doesn't matter where you live. The city potholes are going to eat up any car. Now, I'm a fanatic, so I can hear the back wheel bearings at some point in time will need to be changed. I can hear them making a little noise now. They might roll for 20, 30, 40,000 miles more, but I'm a fanatic, and I even changed the wheel bearings on my Matrix when it had 106,000 because I didn't like the noise, and the noise did go away, but I could have probably gone another 100,000 before they actually needed to be replaced. Well, here we go to our little drag strip, and you see that transmission. It's a 4-speed, and man, it's smooth. And sure, it only gets 36 miles a gallon, where the new one gets 41 on the highway. But the new one is extremely complicated. I don't know if they're going to last as long as these. The new ones are CVTs. Well, there's nobody behind us, so here we go. Ready, drag strip. Now, it doesn't burn rubber, but, you know, look, it goes. And even at a high pressure, that tranny's shifting smooth with 200,000 miles. Suspension's good. Doesn't pull one way or the other much. These things are like the perfect transportation device. There's a reason they've sold so many. They get you where you're going. They get good gas mileage. They don't break. And guess what? You're going 40. You want to pass somebody. You floor it. Look, the speedometer picks up. It's not a race car, but we're going 60 pretty quick. And they're fun to drive. They're front wheel drive. So when we get to something like this that says you have to go 20 miles an hour, you can pretty much ignore it. You can see we're doing 50 now, and we really don't have any problems at all. And they don't break down. Okay, so what do I say about the car he bought? Well, it passed with flying colors. Yes, he had to pay $5,500, but it's a Toyota Corolla that had been driven on the highway most of the time, and you can see it's in immaculate shape. After I put Bernie's cleaner in it, it was almost running perfect, and that was only after a short time. I can imagine probably 300 miles from now, it'll probably be running at 0% adding or subtracting, because it'll be running perfectly, right? Who knows what the modern technology will do? I'm not a CVT fan. I am not a GDI fan. I'm really not a fan of both port and GDI because the complexity is just so high. It will make your head spin. Simple technology in a car that still runs like a clock. Now, if I could go back in time, I should have just bought 3 of these things when they were new and stored 2 of them with no gasoline in them, right? And then if one finally broke, then use the next one. because they don't make them like they used to. And this thing is a perfect example of that. Don't poo-poo about buying a Toyota Corolla if it's got 200,000 miles on it, because it might go another 200,000 miles with very little repair. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.